And it's taking its time. All right.
Yes, it is.
Oh, I see one person. I see you, Karen Odell.
I'm here for you.
Oh, wow, it jumped up real quick. Good day, everyone. We're going to go ahead and give people a few more minutes to jump on. We'll be starting right at probably at or 1 minute after the hour. Hello, Amber. Hello, Jessica Bartolucci. It's good to see you guys on this morning. Or it's still morning where I'm at. So in about 60 seconds, it'll be noonish. So we'll go ahead and get started here in just a second. Hello, Louise. John A. Hello. All right. Let me get me a quick drink of water and we'll get this thing fired up. Hello, Sarah Shaw. All right. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and wherever you are, good day. I hope everyone is doing well out there. I hope everyone is staying safe and that sort of thing. And, moving through this beginning of the year with some grace, or at least getting through it nonetheless. So, welcome to Keune Academy Live. Today's program is going to be Winter Recovery 2. My name is James Helton. I'm the Creative Design Ambassador for Keune North America. On the other end of the phone today, we have a special guest. Normally, we have Miss Jessica Mills, our VP of Education and Shows. But today, we have Mrs. Karen Odell, which is one of our field education managers. She will be fielding questions that you guys may have, comments, that sort of thing. And speaking of that, if for whatever reason you do have a question, or maybe it's not even a question, maybe you need me to move out of the way or something, move the mannequin in closer, maybe I wasn't clear on something, be sure to type those in the comments and Karen will get with you and feed those to me as they come in. So what is Winter Recovery 2? Well, I think we should go back and talk about Winter Recovery 1 for a moment. Last week, if you joined, Amber talked about all of the treatments and things that we have, from masks to the Miracle Elixirs, Miracle Elixir Spray, satin oil, everything like that from Care, a lot of products like that from SoPure, and just things on how to treat the hair and the scalp during the winter months when, everybody is a little bit more dry. I mean, my hair's dry, my skin's dry, the inside of my nose is dry, my mouth is dry, my sense of humor gets drier. So, everything gets a little bit more dried out. Today, we're going to go back across that and in a different direction, in that we're going to talk about stylers and how people, during the winter months, obviously you're working on the condition of your hair. Maybe you're using masks. Maybe you're using some of, satin oil. I don't know. That's, whatever is suiting your needs. Well, you also have to style your hair. So some people like to start stretching out their shampoo times. Maybe if you're a shampoo every day kind of person, maybe you're going to every other day. Or if you're an every other day person, maybe you're going to every 2 or 3 days. And then, of course, if you're like me, you always push it until you absolutely are shamed into washing your hair. So, that being said, we'll enter another player onto the field. So you got dry hair. You're trying to keep that moisturized. You're trying to, stretch out those shampoos so that maybe, your scalp can take a little bit of a break, that sort of thing. And then this erroneous character by the name of static electricity shows up. Usually shows up when the heater kicks on the first time and it doesn't go away to the first rain of the spring. So let's talk a little bit about that, because I think we have a little bit of an issue. It's kind of a delicate dance with static electricity, because static electricity is usually counteracted by moisture and that sort of thing, which is great. However, you don't want your style to go flat. You don't want your guest styles to go flat. So again, that is going to be kind of a delicate dance that we're going to, kind of play on today. I think one of the things, what is static electricity? Well, I looked it up, and the actual paraphrased definition is that it's an imbalance of negative or positively charged charges on or in an object. And the fixes for that can come in the way of stylers, obviously conditioners. The big thing is moisture. Also, ionic blow dryers, for whatever reason, is a big help. They keep in mind that what causes static is an imbalance one way or the other. It's either too many positive charges or too many negative charges, and when they collide, it causes that spark, or, of course, that whole, Einstein-y thing you can do with people's hair that way. So, ionic blow dryers do put negative ions into the hair, so maybe that helps balance it out. Another great little tip that I discovered in some of my research is if you're a person that wears headgear, meaning a toboggan, a scarf, earmuffs, whatever that may be, make sure that your fabrics are of a naturally occurring element, such as natural fibers, such as cotton, cashmere, wool, mohair, whatever your poison is there. Avoid, things like nylons, acrylics, polyesters, all those sorts of things, which is a variation one way or the other on plastic, and that does cause the static to get a little bit excited. So that being said, we're going to do a little experiment on my first lady here. I have three ladies today. We're going to talk about some styling solutions, some styling products, that sort of thing, what kind of got us to where we are within that as well. And again, if you have any questions or whatever on those products or what happened or how it happened, just feed those in the comments. Now, of course, this lady got a bag on her head. I am hoping, there she blows. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there is an ample amount of static in this young lady's head. So we'll just throw that over to the side. So the first thing, when we shampooed her hair, we shampooed her with Vital Nutrition, shampoo and conditioner. I did not prep her with any kind of two-phase spray or anything like that, because I kind of wanted to see what the plastic bag would generate. And one of the first things that you can do is, if you have too much static in the hair, always recommend to your clients that they can take two-phase spray and just on the dry hair lightly mist that over the top. That way you can kind of work that in, and you don't, as you can see, you will not flatten out the style at all and get rid of all of that static and flyaways. Now, what I did blow dry her with was I used one of my faves, the Blowout Gelée, as well as the Instant Blowout. The reason I did this was heat protection. You always want to make sure especially in the winter months when you're trying to keep moisture in the hair, you definitely want to protect from the heating elements, flat irons, blow dryers, hot rollers, whatever your poison is on that, from extracting more moisture from the hair. Now, one of the things that I like to use to really, we just did kind of a quick twist curl on her, which I've yet to comb out at all. And one of the things that I was going to use here is our Style Defrizz Serum. And just put a couple of, couple of squirts in there, emulsify that in the hands, and just start working that through the hair. This is also something that really helps to obviously keep the hair shiny, cut down on flyaways of any kind. It also helps with static electricity. So it has virtually no hold. It's virtually all shine. And it really helps to start breaking up a little bit of that texture, as you can see. And just keeping that hair shiny. Now, one of my favorite things to do is, so if you're going to work on spacing out your shampoos, okay, which I do quite prevalently, one of the things that, a tip that was shared with me was to start using dry shampoo. There it is. Dry shampoo immediately following, or at least on style day 1. All right, following your blow dry, you've got everything fixed in there. Before you decide to spray it, come in and just loosely at the root. I'll predominantly just do it on the top, because the top typically is what obviously goes flat first. And just spray just a tiny bit of that in at the root. And what that does is it helps you get a jump on the elements creeping into your hair. Most often than not, we have a tendency to use dry shampoo on second day hair, third day hair, fourth day hair, whatever the case may be there. I like to start off from the beginning, and what I have found is that if you do that, you start to add a little texture to the hair, so you can start getting a little bit more body out of the hair that way, instead of really overloading it with like hairsprays and that sort of thing. And like I said, you really start utilizing the elements of that dry shampoo, which with Keune, it's our Dry Clean Complex, which contains the main active ingredient in that is zeolite. Zeolite is a thing that is a product that they use to soak up like oil spills and that sort of thing. So it really, I think, having that addition, obviously, as you can see here, really helps to not only bring some fullness to the hair, but it will definitely get a jump on extending that shampoo time and keeping that style lively. Now, here's a little tidbit that I have discovered for my own self. So if you are someone that manages to make it to, say, day 3, and you're like, okay, that guy said that I could use dry shampoo in the beginning and everything would work out fine, and by day 3 you start to notice that the top of your head is starting to droop and lag a little bit. One of the things I like to do is spray just a tiny bit of salt mist in at the root when I'm getting ready to restyle it on like day 3, I think it usually is. And what that does is the salt mist gives you just a tiny bit of, like, not even really grit, but a little extra texture to keep that hair up off the head. All right? Because nobody knows it's dirty if it's off the head and not just drooped down on the head. So that's a little studio tip that I love to use, and I found that this is incredibly helpful around the house, when I'm doing my hair. And you may be able to, discuss this with your guests in the salon, and it may be a product that they may not buy a bottle of this maybe every 6 months. but it is extra what we like to call fun tickets that you really didn't have to cut any hair for or anything like that, that you just get to, increase your ticket like that. And finally, on this one, I'm going to use high impact spray, mainly because I want to be able to just use a little spray. She's got relatively fine textured hair, so what I would like to do is just be able to, it's a firm holding hairspray. It is a hold of 10 with a shine of 6. So you really can just puff that up a little bit and not have to use a whole ton of hairspray. And it also is humidity resistant. So if for whatever reason you do live, or say your house, you're using humidifiers in your house, okay? Or your client is using humidifiers in their house, or you have humidifiers in your salon. High impact spray as well as freestyle spray, both are humidity resistant. So you can use that to, combat any additional humidity you may have. All right. So that is my first lady, and that is, we talked a little bit about dry shampoo, salt mist, these sorts of things. I'm going to switch her out, and we're going to bring in one of my faves. If you have seen any lives that I've done at all in 2021, you have seen this lady here. She is probably, if I had to have a favorite mannequin head, she is one of them. I love her curl. I love the texture of her hair in general. I mean, she has really, really dense curly hair, all right, and relatively coarse curly hair. So one of the things that I like to mention about this, curly hair, just like if you're trying to blow out hair smooth, you don't want that to be frizzy. You don't want curly hair to be frizzy either. So when we shampooed her, we used Keratin Smooth shampoo, and I used Curl Control conditioner. Hair with this kind of texture being kind of coarse, very dense, it can definitely handle, a combination of those two. If you have someone that has maybe skinnier curly hair and that sort of thing, maybe the Curl Control shampoo and Curl Control conditioner is something you might consider using on those guys. But for her, we also incorporated the satin oil milk. Obviously, we have satin oil shampoo, we have satin oil conditioner, we have satin oil mask, we also have the satin oil treatment, and then we have satin oil milk. Satin oil milk is lighter, contains the same properties as all the satin oil shampoos, conditioners, and treatments. However, it's just a little bit lighter, and it's really great to use as a cutting lotion, a pre-styler, that sort of thing. I like to use it as a cutting lotion because it helps to get it worked in the hair as we go. The other thing we used is curl cream. Now, curl cream is, keep in mind, and most of the things I'm going to be using today as base stylers are going to be emollients. Creams, gelées, that sort of thing. I believe that is most helpful, especially in the wintertime, in helping to retain moisture in the hair. And curl cream is, to me personally, it is a great product to use if the person has curly hair and you're just really trying to make sure you can control that curl. If that person has maybe finer, skinnier hair and a weaker curl pattern, or a weaker curl pattern in general, then the Care Curl Boosting Spray as well as the Care Curl Defining Cream would be great options to use instead of, if you're trying to encourage curl. Here we're just trying to keep control of the curl that she has, as well as provide some emulsion and that sort of thing, helping retain moisture in that way. I think one of the most unsung products in the Refresh range that we have is this guy right here. If you can see that. Light is not my friend today. That's dry paste. All right? Dry paste literally just looks like, it's not really like clay in so much as it's literally, it's very, very, very dry. So what I like to do is, instead of 100% dry shampoo, especially on hair like hers that can handle a little extra, and maybe you need a little extra control with those curls, on that second day, really start working that in, or maybe even on day one like we did with the dry shampoo, start working that in so that you can get a jump on those foreign elements that like to creep into the hair. It's not heavy. It has a very light hold, actually. Has a hold of 4 and a shine of 1. So it's going to be very matte. However, if you want to add a little sheen to that, you could come in with the Silkening Polish. How do I get that? Just give me a moment. We're going to adjust some lighting here. There we go. The Silkening Polish, and that'll help also control static. It is, it's a cream. It doesn't require much, and you can get a little bit more of a satiny finish on those curls. Which for me, I love to use both. I am not a person that is afraid of using product, and it really does help to define those curls and to keep that, while you're trying to control the elements, extend those shampoos. That also helps to keep the hair nice and, give it some extra luster and that sort of thing. So Keune has dry shampoo in the Refresh range. We also have dry conditioner. All right. Dry conditioner, I don't want to say it's a heavier product. It's just a more conditioning product. But for her, I like to come in at the root and add just a little extra there. And this would be something you could probably start working in there definitely on day 2 or 3. And as you can see, it definitely will start to elevate the hair off the head. So it's not a weighty product at all. It's just an additional way to incorporate more moisture into those styles. And for her, I like to use Freestyle Spray because we already have quite a bit of, product in there. I don't want her hair to, you don't really need a lot of hairspray if you set yourself up for success beforehand with your prep products, with your shaping products, such as, maybe the dry paste or stuff like that. Products in that nature that already support the style as you're drying it and styling it. With her, I just let her air dry a little bit. I let her air dry completely and then went in with another tool that if you've seen me on live before, you've seen this guy, and just really elevate the hair, pick that hair up, and put some heat to it after the fact to kind of, move the hair around the way you would, how you want to see it, and then give her a little shot of spray in this way. Again, Freestyle Spray having some humidity resistant properties. That way these curls don't get crazy and fly away and super frizzy. Look at that. There you go. And there's this lady. Perfect. Now, if you have seen, if you were on a live towards the end of the year last year, you saw this lady. I have had her sitting inside the salon, not really on purpose, but just by default. She was sitting on a shelf above an oil diffuser I have in here. So a couple of things I would like to talk about her is that this, I think, is a key indicator of the efficacy of our Humidity Shield. Because when I prepped her for the style you saw on December 14th, she had blowout gelée in her hair. She had instant blowout in her hair. She had salt mousse in her hair. I used liquid hairspray. I used high impact hairspray, and I also used Humidity Shield. Because remember, she had a really large, modified Farrah Fawcett type hair style for that particular program. And she's just been sitting around since then. And as you can see, she is still very, very full. This top that was pushed way back like this, obviously it kind of fell a little bit. But I think that is a great testament to, like I said, the efficacy of the Humidity Shield. So, what's the point in this lady? This is when, this is kind of, she's got all the product in the world in her hair. All right? She has about 6 different stylers in her hair. So as you start to progress away from that, original shampoo one day, you're going to eventually get to this day. All right? So one of the things that I like to always bring up and mention, Brilliant Gloss Spray. This is an oil-free shine spray. So what it can also do is it can help break up product a little bit. So that if maybe the hair is getting a little producty, you can go through, give her a nice little dose of that, and really work that through just with your fingers and whatnot, and start to see that hair becomes not only more pliable and easier to rake through with your hands. Also, another thing happened is it did not lose any of the fullness at all. So one of the things that you can also incorporate into your style regimen or recommend to your guests in the refresh category is dry texturizer. Now, when you're using dry texturizer, pardon me for a moment, get that off her face. When you're using dry texturizer, I like to not just fog up the whole world with it, okay? That, to me, I like to have a little bit more controlled application with this, meaning that I really like to go in at the scalp again and just give a little spritzing with that to pick the hair up off the head. Now this has a hold factor of 6 and a shine factor of 1. So again, you're going to not have super shiny hair. However, we're working on this at the root, and the root is where it can get a little more shine than you really want, if you know what I mean on that, as you get away from your shampoo day one. And as you can see there, it really starts to pick the hair up off the head. Holds really nicely. Even for a product that has, in my opinion, a medium hold, you can really get some nice movement out of it, a really nice hold. Obviously, you can get some good fullness out of it. And the hair still, my favorite, the hair still maintains a lot of that pliability. Instead of a lot of hairspray, because obviously she already has a lot of hairspray in her hair, but you still may want to really work on accentuating those waves that you have put in there, or maybe if their hair is a little bit just wavy in general. One of the things I like to use to kind of both calm the hair down as well as help with a little hold is the spray wax. Spray wax creates, in my opinion, also a nice little bit of volume. And if you notice here, I am holding that quite a ways away from the head so that we don't really blast her head with the product. Kind of let the product work its way into the hair as you apply. And that really helps too. I have a guest that I don't even use hairspray on. I literally just use the spray wax because of her hair texture. And it really holds the hair very nicely for how she needs it to be held. So what do we think about that out there? If you have any questions or anything, again, just be sure to drop those in the comments. Now, one of the things that I like to use on her as well, or a possible alternative, is a product called Porosity Filler. Porosity Filler is just that. It is a little like shine lotion there that contains ceramides and that sort of thing to go in and really nourish the hair. Also being a product that I feel will really help with your static electricity problem, if there is one. And as you can see, does not weigh the hair down at all. Although she does have a good little bit of support in there with what we've already put in her hair. All right. If you have not used soft set spray, soft set spray is really great in this kind of a situation. It's a really great spray to layer with. Obviously, it doesn't have a huge hold. It has a hold of 5, a shine factor of 7. And you can just really get in. And again, it's a product I like to use when I'm really working on layering products. Maybe they don't need a tremendous amount of hold because of the spray that they already have in there, or the product that they already have. But it's just a really good spray to, calm that down a little bit. Also, I feel like hairspray typically also helps with static electricity and cutting through that as well. Also, if you are, I know that spring seems so far away when it's late January, but it will be here sooner or later. And if you are a person that does a lot of wedding hair, formal hair, that sort of thing, soft set spray is really great as a working spray for updos, formal styles, as well as a nice light finishing spray for our ladies in this nature. I did mention Humidity Shield earlier. If you have not used Humidity Shield, I think that it is a must. One of the reasons that I bring it into this conversation is that when I use Humidity Shield on my hair, I use it on day one on wet hair before I start to style out my hair. So I will put in my prep products such as two-phase and that sort of thing, my curl cream and curl booster, because as much as I like to wear my hair curly, it really likes to curl on the ends a lot, as you can see there. But as we get up a little bit closer to the scalp there, it kind of does weaken. So I do use the Curl Boost Spray and the Curl Defining Cream from our care line, which contains wood fibers, and that helps to really reinforce that curl, because as you know, when wood gets wet and starts to dry, it will start to bow and that sort of thing. So that's a really good product, and the kind of the why behind why we use that product on people that have a little bit of a weaker curl or curl that you're just trying to reinforce. Now, when I use Humidity Shield, I use it after I put all that in, before I dry it, and also after I dry it. Reason being is the after effect of that is that it keeps the hair fuller longer for some reason or another. Obviously, keeping it from the humidity, keeping the humidity out of it and that sort of thing is one of the key reasons, but putting it in wet and drying it into the hair really reinforces that. As well as the freestyle spray that you use as an as humidity resistant product as well. So one of the other things I would like to mention, and I'll go back to my lady over here, is the liquid hairspray. All right, where's it at? There we go. Liquid hairspray. Liquid hairspray is, I think it's a really firm hairspray, but it has a hold factor of 9, but it also has it's quite shiny. It has a shine factor of 7. And if you're really working on, say, like, well, my hair, for instance, but I'm going to use it on this lady here, it's a really great hairspray to work into the hair. The fact that it has a hold factor of 9, which means that it'll virtually stop birds in flight. One of the cool things I like about it is that it really breaks up very easily. All right. So you can really use it to work the hair, reinforce those curls, and not have a super sticky mess on your hands, which nobody likes that. And of course, even for people that are working to achieve a look such as this, I find a great alternative, even though I don't use a lot of mousses, is to couple Blend's salt mousse with your blowout gelée when you're doing your twist curls and that sort of thing. Really about, I would say, not much bigger than a large jawbreaker size in your hand. So that being maybe about like that size, and it holds up very nicely as well. About that size on medium length, medium density, medium textured hair. Couple that with your blowout gelée when you do your blowout for the twist curls, and you can really that's when you really get a lot firmer, a little less loose curl than what you have here that we showed earlier. So those are some really great alternatives to your your solutions that we provided earlier. So, do we have anybody with any questions, comments, or anything like that before I move on?
Lots of comments on the great tips, and they're loving the product.
Well, cool. All right. So, oh my goodness. We are getting close to the end here, so I would like to just mention a couple of other products before we go. Again, I mentioned earlier emollients, creams, that sort of thing is not a bad idea during the winter months because it helps, like I said, to retain moisture. And a great product that I think to couple with some of the other choices would be thickening cream. Thickening cream, think about thickening cream works like this. Proteins either encapsulate or penetrate the hair, and it makes the hair, individual hairs, bigger, okay? Things like root volumizer and maybe even blowout gelée help to hold the hair up off the head, all right? Gels, that sort of thing. Thickening cream actually helps to make the hair a little bit denser, so it can help hold itself up a little bit better when you couple that with, like, say, a blowout gelée and that, that sort of thing. Obviously, we do have all of our gels, our Triple X gel, our Ultra gel, that kind of thing. Those products work really well. Again, working with products that have an emulsifying effect or an emulsion to them. And of course, the old standby is straight cream. And another product, we talked about pastes earlier. One of the products that I don't think gets enough love, and I think I don't know why, but that's a product called Power Paste. Power Paste is a little bit it's a very matte product again. It does, but it has a super high hold. It has a hold of like 10 and a shine factor of 1. So a great thing that I like to do is to take Power Paste and cocktail it with something like a Porosity Filler or even the Keratin Smooth Silkening Polish. I like to think about that much is plenty in the hand, and then about that much of the silkening polish. Work that, really, really emulsify that in your hands. I like to clap my hands a little bit to get a little bit of the moisture, and then to work that into her root area to really pick that hair up off the head.
Hey, James.
Hey, Karen.
We have a question from Debbie, and she says the wet look is still a big thing out there, and when it freezes, it's not good to go outside with wet hair. So what products are good to mimic that?
A really great product to mimic the quote-unquote wet look, Debbie. So Debbie's question was, in case you didn't hear, Debbie's from the Netherlands, and where she's from, the wet look is very popular. So how do you mimic that on the hair when you can't go outside with wet hair because the hair freezes, which is not cool at all. So, one moment. She caught me a little off guard today. Brilliantine gel is an awesome way to help to mimic some of that wet look type situation. Now, it doesn't have the hold that, say, a gel does, or like, say, a mousse does. And it's not going to produce that crispy gel type of look. However, if you use Brilliantine gel, work it into the hair, set the hair how you would like, and I would start off and be a little, work sparingly with it, all right? Maybe even cut back to a little bit like that. Put that in your wet hair, all right? I'm going to drag Dominique back over here. That is not or Dion. Dion is her name. That's not a name I gave her. That's a name the company gave her. So just really work that into the wet hair, all right? And then when you get that completely distributed through the hair, I would go over that with our liquid hairspray. And when I say go over it, I don't mean get up and really, jam on it like that. I mean to come back here and really get some of that product on the hair, and then kind of let that set for a moment, not near as long a period of time as it would take to let the hair completely set and air dry. Obviously, we don't want people to run outside and freeze from having wet hair. So I think that that's a great solution. You can use mousses in that same way as well. And you can use gels straight out of the tube on dry hair. So that's another, especially if you have curly hair, you can use the Ultra Gel or the Triple X Gel, or for that matter, even the Blowout Gelée on dry hair. Scrunch that in or work that in, ever how you choose to, shape the hair and direct the hair. Then put a little spray over the top with some liquid hairspray, and that should set you up for success, I would think. And not to mention give you a ton of options as well. Did that answer your question, Debbie? Awesome. So time flies when you start to really get into this and start digging deep. And that is almost all the information I do have for you guys today on stylers and combating that the good old static electricity. Just remember, when you're working with hair in this time of the year, start out with a little, work up to ever how much you think you may need. One of the things, and I would, pass that along to your guests. Just like we started out with a little bit of dry shampoo at the root of our first guest today, as she works through her week-long, as she works through her week, you will notice that she can go longer and longer and longer just by starting to use just a little bit at a time. And some people like to use, protein sprays in their hair as well. And that's also another option with the Vital Nutrition Protein Spray from our Care range. Also a great option for that as well. So one last thing that I would like to pass on to you guys is next Monday, you have to look at me again. And I'll be joined by Gareth Palmer. I'll be joined by George Alderetti, Amber Shriepak, Jessica Mills, as well as a yet-to-be-announced special guest. So I'm really excited, and that is all our Keune All Access Tour. During that time, we will share with you some great color techniques. Amber and George has some really cool things in store for you there. Gareth and I have put together some design and finishing situations where you get some tips and hopefully some good tricks there, and really some inspiration. I know that I have read time and time and time again on my social media timelines, a lot of our friends and fellow hairdressers out there really struggle with inspiration. So I'm hoping we can put some of that forth, and not that I'm some great inspirer of anything, but when you see other people doing things that you may not have thought about, or that you did think about but maybe you didn't really feel good about the execution or feel good about executing it, just to see someone do something that you're thinking about doing can be all the inspiration you need to bring things out of your own head and to get those things, working for you. So again, next Monday from noon until, Karen, is it 4? From noon to 4 Eastern Standard Time, next Monday, please do join us for the Keune All Access Tour. Again, my name is James Helton. I really enjoyed sharing this with you today, and I really hope that everyone stays safe. Yesterday was National Compliment Day. I learned that from one of my friends online. So carry that over into today and the rest of the week and the year and whatnot, and just, tell somebody their hair looks good. You'd be surprised how much good you can do in the world just by telling someone else that, maybe you like their shoes. I don't know, So thank you again, everyone. It was a great time today. I had a lot of fun. I hope to see you next Monday. And until then, stay safe, stay healthy, stay out of the woods, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.